Hello everybody, my name is Frigid Hyperion and welcome back to the Wilds of Wildemount campaign. Excuse me. Today is session 61B, and with me today I have Kale playing Brine, I have Rocky playing Edward, I'm playing Moonzic, and of course we have our lovely and omniscient dungeon master and omnipotent Emily. Take it away.
Um, well, so glad we're back. We gotta get things started here really quick, with Brian giving us our recap for today.
Last time on Wilds of Wildemount, Brian's brilliant intuition on who might be interested in whom finally came about as Moonzic had a romantic tryst with sorry, shit, it's been so long.
Isla.
Isla? I had that right? Damn it. I had that right and I didn't believe myself. Isla. Isla. And that is the only thing of importance that happened.
Yep.
Alright, fine. There was some other important things. We did some business dealings. Edward found a note by suggesting with magical force that the courier not do his job, and well, you know, just generally that. But the only important thing that happened was that Moonzic is in WoW. Also, that he spilled the entire cat out of the bag. Seriously, the entire cat.
By the way, the cat's name is Schrodinger. Unrelated.
I recognize that that wasn't much of a specific recap, but I'll be honest, it's been like a month and a half.
Yeah.
I remember the broad story beats, but I don't want to get too far into the specifics.
Understand.
And that's my pizza. I'm sorry. I will be right back.
Well, Brian and Edward head their way back to. I guess you should say. Actually, Brian excuses herself for just a moment. She runs away. You guys are sitting in the middle of the breakfast hall, having things erupted from where they were just a mere 5 minutes prior, with Mateo having excused himself, Isla pouring her heart out and giving herself some space as well. You are now left just post a conversation pretty tensely about the state of things, right at the end of last session, when Brian says she had to go to the bathroom, leaving Moonzic and Edward alone, just the two of you.
Well, you said you had an errand to run out to Fenrir Shinebrights.
Yes, correct. The package.
What exactly did that package have?
I mean, dirt and rocks in the most literal way possible. I mean, those dirt and rocks, on the other hand, have, I think, some degree of arcane significance, as in relation towards his studies related to polyplanar transit theory.
Really? A bunch of dirt and rocks has arcane relation to whatever the heck that is. I'll get it right one of these days. It's
actually really interesting. I mean, it's actually really interesting when you actually dive, deep, look into it, or at least put it under some degree of introspection. The rocks themselves sort of seem to have some sort of space bending nature imprinted onto them. It's not exactly space bending rocks per se, but I mean, obviously I can't really know without deeper analysis of this. But generally speaking, it's as if it had some degree of imprint on some magical hum.
Hence the trip to Fenrir Shinebrights. That would make sense.
Yes, I mean, really just to find more insights about planar breaches that have imprinted the effect of this magical hum onto the soil sample and the rock samples.
Interesting.
Quick question.
Oh, Brian,
I
welcome
don't.
back.
Sorry, I really had to go to the washroom. In any case, I had a quick question for you, and something that maybe Shanbright could also elucidate on.
For me or for Edward?
Actually, for the project that I was talking about earlier, that Tome of Sending.
Yes.
You're mentioning this soil sample and how it has like this magical signature on it, right?
Yes.
Well, that would be magical information, right?
Are you implying that there could possibly be information or data being sent through the Tome of Sending with,
Well,
a medium that's not actual spoken language?
well, if we're able to send data signature, magical signatures through a portal, it would. Could we send the information itself, much the same way we do sending, through a portal so that we could significantly reduce the amount of space it has to go, basically turning it into a cantrip like message that requires almost no magical power at all? That would fulfill our requirements, wouldn't it?
I've never actually thought about it that way. I suppose by mitigating the prime expense of magical power in, crossing the bridge through at least, some degree of, communications. I think that could be potentially theoretically be possible. I'm not really sure whether or not the application of such methods would be feasible in any capacity whatsoever. But I think this is a very interesting way or application of appropriating this sending ability, I suppose.
Well, obviously, there's a ton of stuff to research here. If it was easy, well, then it would be done already. But
if it was easy, it would be everywhere.
exactly. But I don't know. Fenrir is a mage of quite high capability. I'll look into it myself, but would you mind asking him and seeing whether that might work while you take your trip?
Of course. Inquire him about the Tome of Sending and how it can be used with, extraplanar portals.
Exactly. I mean, the portal would would not have to have any size at all, really. Just barely be a crack at all. That can't take that much magical power to create.
I suppose so. Although I would advise against the excessive usage of this, as it does actually weaken the general structural integrity of the weave within its general vicinity. Those effects are more or less permanent, or at least have long-lasting consequences when it comes to spatial distortions and structural integrity of our fabric of existence, especially when repeatedly done over a long period of time for frivolous purposes such as small talk conversations.
I mean, sure, but the same can be said for any teleportation spell. And I mean, Misty Step is used constantly by almost every elf in existence. Hasn't caused a tear. Because that one...
I mean, I think Misty Step is more or less a different method of magic as related to poking holes in the fabric of reality, so you can frivolously use this without incurring any further damages on at least our spatial fabric.
I'll be honest, it's not my area of expertise. If it were super dangerous to the fabric of the world as we know it, maybe don't do it that way. I'm sure we'll find another. But at least asking about how this might work, especially with pinpricks so small that they might instantly repair on the other side.
Yep.
Thank you, Edward.
No problem. Anything else you need from our resident polyplanal expert transit apprentice?
Well, I know he's really interested in the Eladrin, so if he manages to succeed, maybe I'll tell him about some Eladrin rituals from back home, just as a incentive.
Perhaps. I mean, he does seem like the type of person to welcome odd curios of baubles of knowledge, or at least odd bits of knowledge from exotic places, I suppose.
Well, I mean, his
is the-
entire house is based off of the Eladrin style, so he can't be not interested.
Sure, I'll be sure to at least entice him with the prospect of being able to provide him such information.
Actually, I guess I do have one question myself for him, oddly enough. Regarding what happened earlier with the handshake and the deal with Mateo, perhaps ask him if he knows anything about family bloodlines having magical abilities, and if he has heard of them, how they come about. I'd be interested to know if this goes deeper.
I'm pretty sure this particular topic is out of his area of expertise, but I could possibly inquire something related to that.
It might actually be in Barclay's expertise area.
Well,
He does a lot on magical history.
both of you, I suppose, can
Ooh,
ask your
sorcerer's
questions to your
bloodlines.
people, so I'll leave it up to you
Sorcerer's
two.
bloodlines are basically as old as, as old as rulers and kings of civilizations themselves.
No.
Although I do think that it would be worth inquiring on whether or not it would be able to appropriate polyplanal transit theory for our own purposes in terms of finding access or finding ingress into Ankarel from this particular remote location.
I suppose that is
It'd
entirely
certainly
possible.
be a fruitful. I mean, that could certainly be a fruitful prospect in order to achieve your, birthright.
Indeed. Well, it sounds like we have everything in order then.
Yep. I suppose I should be going. He's gonna grab his coat and he's gonna go out and
Fucking dips. He's like, gotta go, guys.
I
Bye,
gotta
bye,
go.
Safe travels.
He's gonna whistle for Eustace. He's going to hop on his back with like a little giddy smile as if it was a little kid knowing that he was about to head to the candy store,
Well, I should probably be off too. I have to head to the library and
Get lost in
I've
your
got
world
so
of
many
books.
friends. I mean, Barclay was saying that he had found some really difficult things, so maybe I'll help him out with that, and he'll be able to help me up with what I've got going on.
Sounds good. And
Oh, Thunderbeak von Oppenheimer the Third!
That name will never
the
not
third.
get old.
I thought it was just the destroyer of worlds.
There were three destroyed worlds, but we don't talk about the 3 worlds he destroyed.
Ah, of course.
Rest in peace.
Okay.
You are unique, Brine.
So were those worlds.
Ah,
Brian looks up, smiling ear from ear to ear.
As she hops up on her griffin.
safe travels to you as well, then.
And you, don't get in too much trouble.
I don't intend to be in too much trouble. At least, not while I'm here.
And I hope she says yes.
It'd be fun to have her tag along.
Yeah. Even if she can give a death stare, that I'm fairly sure if it had any magical power behind it, I'd have died 3 times over.
Our stare kill.
For all that you know, she could have some power behind that. Best watch
Well, then
yourself, Brine.
I wouldn't be standing here if she did. Now I seriously must be going, as fun as this is.
And with that, you take off. Leaving you, Moonzic, having just watched your friends depart for Nicodranas. What are you thinking right now?
He's thinking a couple different things. Moonzic is thinking... His mind kind of wanders for a little bit, and he kind of strolls around the grounds, thinking about how... Or rather, where that magical feeling came from when he struck the deal with Mateo. And if he could tap into that, as well as... maybe he'll make his way around to the sparring ring later to take on some crew hands. See if they'd pose a challenge to him. Mostly lingering on the magical area. Just kind of going back to what was that? Like thinking there's been no mention of anything in my family about magical powers. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes sense to him.
Okay. So you make your way, you take some time, wander about, all that good stuff. And later on in the evening, you find yourself at the sparring ring, testing your mettle against some of the paid guards that are on premise. There's only 3 who are here full time, and each one of them you are able to. Well, let's see how well you do. Go ahead and roll me a check of your choice. It can be just a straight dex check. It could be whatever. And I'll kind of tell you how well this fight is going.
It could be either like a regular dexterity check, or it could be I have a rapier. I could do just a simple rapier attack.
Sure.
All right. Okay, make sure I'm not on advantage. 19.
19. So you were certainly holding up quite well. It's despite all of their armor, they are looking a little bit more worse for wear. You find yourself kind of bouncing on your toes, and you say, and what do you say after you kind of look at them? They're all kind of backed up, leaning, breathing heavy, having just gone one after the other against you.
Come on. Surely you can do better than that. I'm just one man.
God, well, yeah, but you're just so fast. Alright. We may be tired, but, I say this. You might have beaten us each, one by one, without breaking a sweat. But I don't know if you can handle the 3 of us at once. And with that, like, the 3 of them charge you, and begin a tussle of sorts. Describe to me what Moonzic's approach is. Like, what does he look like as you got your play fighting?
So, Moonzic... I can say this. Moonzic knows that the best way to deal with people on one side, or like 3 people against him, is to try and get them to attack at the same time while uncoordinated, so they aren't expecting each other's attacks and able to break through them and land hits of his own. So he's kind of dodging back a little bit at a time and kind of goading them to attack, and then having 2 or even all 3 of them attack at once, and they're not expecting it. So their swords kind of bump into each other, and he strikes back very quickly and dances away again.
And all right. After basically going back and forth with each other, eventually you are declared the victor in this fight. It's just for fun.
Yeah.
And as you claim victory, what do you say?
It surely caught me off guard for a second when you all attacked me at once, but unfortunately it was kind of an impromptu attack. There wasn't really much strategy to be talked about beforehand. It was hard to coordinate your attacks. If you're able to get together again and attack with each other, make sure you have a plan in place. You 3 do make very good swordsmen. Make sure you take the time to practice with each other instead of against each other.
That's some good advice. All right. I need some alcohol. The other 2 gruff in agreement and saunter off. As you turn around, you see leaning up against the fence on the outside of the little sparring ring. You see Isla, kind of sauntering her way through the sparring ground. She starts to roll her shoulders and kind of gives you a mischievous smile. Gio holds up her own wooden rapier, right? And kind of twirls it expertly in her hand.
Oh, come on now. This can't be fair. I'm worn out from all these fights, and now you want to take me on.
It's a fine excuse. I'd hate to bruise that royal ego of yours. She gives you a wink.
Well, how can I back down from a taunt like that? On guard.
And with that, you begin sparring. We're not going to worry about any sort of rolls or about that here. But in your sparring with her, you notice that she is quite capable with the blade. Of course, you're just sparring whatever, as you're kind of learning each other's reflexes. She starts off sparring with you slow and deliberate, like almost steady, like she's just figuring out, acting pretty defensively. And this goes on for just a little bit when very suddenly she starts to shift. Actually, I'm gonna have you roll just for fun. Actually, I think this is great. She shifts. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity save.
Dex save. 22.
Oh, 22. She quickly darts in, very nearly touching you. Not very, very nearly, like so close to hitting you on your shoulder with the flat of her wooden blade. But she bounces back, and she bounces back and gives you a glare, not glare, like a smirk, and says, "Oh, you yourself are quite fast." He's reflexive.
I've learned really well from my mentor, though that move caught me off guard. Where did you learn that?
Oh, I've trained with some of the finest mercenaries since I was like a kid. Anytime we go out on, every time we go out on trade expeditions, I don't know what to call them. She knows, I don't. Every time we go out on trade expeditions, we'd always hire some mercenaries to help us get there safely, and well, my father spares no expense.
Certainly not. It's a good amount of
So-
footwork you have.
Thank you, she says, and she sorry. You guys begin fighting. At some point in time, you make your first move. And you draw first blood. She says, first blood. That was simple, though. Are you sure that you're royalty? I expected more flair.
Sometimes the simple maneuvers are the best.
You faint you faint a low strike, and before you kind of twist up into an overhead swing, catching her off guard once again by tapping her side. Touche, Prince. But don't think that means I'm going easy on you now.
Bring it on.
And as you guys continue to spar, there is a moment where she sweeps you, where her feet comes low. This is no longer about swords. She sweeps your feet from under you, and you fall back, looking at each other, from staring at her eyes. I don't know, however you want to go about it. And she stands above you, triumphantly, leveling leveling her spear towards your chest, and says, "It looks like you're at my mercy. What's your move now?"
Would you rather I beg for my life? Is that what's going on now?
I wouldn't mind seeing you beg. There's something satisfying about having a prince on his knees. Or in this case, his back.
Oh, I see where this is
You've
going.
got quite the imagination.
And with that, you kind of twist yourself and catch her off guard as she also ends up falling to the ground. I guess you do have a few tricks up your sleeve.
I did learn from an assassin.
And for a moment, the two of you stand there just inches apart. There's some tension shifting. And she kind of pauses for a moment, letting it stewing in the moment. before she tilts her head and says, kind of brushes her hair back and leans backwards. Well, you weren't kidding when you said you were pretty good, but don't let that get to your head.
I try not to.
And she kind of stands up and offers a hand for you to get up as well.
I'll take the hand, and as she's helping me up, I say, although I'll admit I've been fighting with knives and daggers for some time, and I'm a little rusty with the rapier. I'm surprised it did so well against the 3 guards.
Oh, they're so... Honestly, all 3 of them were, it's Eric, Michael, and Bert.
Hey, Bert.
Their fathers are also work as a part of our guard staff. They're getting better, but they're trustworthy people. They're good. Hope they gave you a little bit of work.
Of course they did. They were ready to attack all together, but I don't think they've ever practiced that sort of thing before. So, that's why I gave them that pointer. Hopefully that gives them a little bit of a good push.
She says, you've got talent for analyzing stuff like that, Moonzic. And you're not afraid of a challenge. I like that about you.
All the good makings of a king, isn't it? Being able to analyze quickly what's coming at you and make a plan in a split second. And following through with it.
As she kind of gets up, you guys dusting yourselves off, and she says, well, come on, Your Highness. Let's see if your swordplay is as good as your conversation over dinner. And you guys make your way back inside. The other 2, you found yourself with a moment, if you would like, for conversation as you Brine ends up catching up to you and your griffin, Edward. Flying
I'm gonna
air. You're both next to each other. Brine having caught up.
Hey, didn't think you would catch up to me. We probably should have left together then. You can see me yell across from my grip.
Honestly, I forgot how close the paths were. We're both basically heading to the same place first, aren't we?
I suppose so, yeah.
Brian
I
is
mean, you know,
yelling over the
Eustace's
wind.
company is nice, but the more the merrier, I usually say.
Yeah. You know, have you ever realized how warm these griffins are? Like, we're like 100 feet into the sky and we're not really that cold just because of how much heat they give off when they're flying. It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
You know, I've never really thought about that. Also, I've never really felt it being, like, you know, an elemental being of fire and all.
Huh, yeah, I guess you wouldn't.
I mean, like, if anything, Eustace complains about me being too hot.
I don't know, I don't have, speak with animals prepared.
Well, you'll just take my word for it, but, you know.
Anyway, so, while we're in the middle of the sky, heading, I think it takes 3 hours from here, 2 hours from here to Nicodranas? Tell me another theory
Finch
you
Family
have
Estate.
for this, for our, book. I need to be able to bounce as many off of, Professor Namorn as possible.
Pardon?
Well, we've got our sending tome that we're trying to work on, right?
Yes.
Well, I have that one idea with the polyplanar transit theory stuff. Bounce off a few more, so I have more stuff to work with, for Professor Nomon. If I don't have good ideas, I'm not going to get anywhere, am I?
I suppose. I was thinking we'd venture into the Feywilds a little bit more. I mean, it seems kind of anticlimactic that we, were building up to finding, more about the Feywild only to set foot in it and never return.
You think that would help us? In the goals that we have?
I mean, the pursuit of studies was never actually to help us as much as it is to satiate our curiosity. Any benefits that it brings to us and our people in their general vicinity happens to be as a byproduct of satiating said curiosity.
I suppose. Although I could tell you a lot about the Feywild, I might not be an expert or anything, and parents certainly don't think I should be telling anybody about anything, but, I mean, I can certainly relay what they told me. What questions do you have?
I mean, so what you're saying is don't tell Fenrir about the whole, Feywild portal?
Oh, I mean, you could, if... I mean, I'm worried about going into the Feywild. Time can have a different meaning there, and if you head in and don't pay enough attention, well, we could leave Moonzic's task too long to be completed. I wouldn't
suppose
want
so.
that. But,
What is the...
I mean, tell him as much as we found. It's all interesting. I mean, every time we go through the flower now, we have this option that we just kind of ignore. And, well, rare ingredients from the Feywild if we need them for alchemy or something. We might have to venture in eventually anyway.
Suppose so. I mean,
Tell
it
him all
seems
you
more
wish.
like an opportunity to, acquire some new materials or ingredients that are generally not plentiful or abundant in our current world.
It's a good point. Maybe one of those ingredients will help with an ink, or provide a base for the rather patch-keeping proxy that I'm trying to create.
I mean, I suppose so. I mean, I don't think that we'd be doing this enough to monetize this, but it is a possibility.
I'm not trying to monetize anything. That's the job of the merchants. I just want to be able to message our party since we're so often split now.
I mean, do you expect this? I mean, like, what would you generally do if preparing to venture out in the Feywilds?
Honestly, pack a lunch. And keep mind of your portals and keep a sunny disposition. Your attitude matters a lot when you're in the Feywild. Don't be naive, don't, accept things from strangers and don't make stupid deals, but in general, you don't want to be too down on yourself. Because that can be dangerous, and you don't want to be too far away from your portal out, since it can take a lot of time.
Good question, but this may seem like a funny, self-indulgent question, but like, what about making deals with Feywilds on your end? And like, are we bound under any obligation to just straight up lie to a not to lie to a Fey when making a deal with a Fae in general when we're proposing the terms?
To be honest, Fey deals are a little bit like Warlock contracts, except they don't have to be stipulated as contracts. That's the weird part about them. For example, if I were to magically approach you and ask you for something, right now in the material plane, I'm mostly harmless. The trouble comes when a Fae of immense power does it here, or a Fae of decent power. I could probably do it back home. Is in the Feywild and asking you for something. There, the magic can interact in some weird ways. Everything magical here, everything normal here, right, would be mundane in the Feywild, and everything normal in the Feywild is magical here. It's like everything is set to 11, if that makes sense. Your own
I
spells
suppose
might...
the novelty in the Feywild is that which does not have magic.
Yeah. Usually, the Elatharan do a lot to actually dampen the effects of magic around their homes, in order to keep a semblance of balance. It's part of why they're serious contenders on the Fey Courts. It's because they can have this sense of stability where stability is really rare.
I suppose. I would assume that stability and, not having magic explode in your face every 10 seconds would be a valuable trait to have in the Feywild.
I am curious though, if you cast Fiery Hands or Firebolt, would it turn into Fireball? I'd never really gotten the chance to mess with all of that in the Feywild. Yeah, I should drag you into the Feywild and see what happens. You can see this experimental glint in her eyes.
I mean, hopefully I don't spontaneously combust more than I already do, at least.
I give it an 90% chance you won't.
With a 10% degree of uncertainty.
Yeah, about that.
I mean, still though, it is something that I want to do in the future. Just make a quick trick.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure we'll find a purpose to going. In any case, that's Nicodranas in front of us. I have to head to the library, and I really need to talk to my friends. It's been too long, and I promised them I would. So, say hi to Fenrir for me. Hey?
Best of luck, will do.
And she's gonna peel off.
Okay. We're gonna have Edward. You'll be first. Edward, you begin to make your way towards you continue to make your way towards Nahiri's tattoo parlor. You walk in the door, and it is, just around noonish. And you see Nahiri sitting there, drawing something on her counter. Oh, well, if that isn't a sight to see, what's up, Edward?
Much. Just thought that I would, drop by. How are you doing these days?
Things are going pretty well here. Honestly, I'm really enjoying myself. See, she's got her hair kind of like pulled up into like a half up, half down vibe. She's chilling. Um, Still has not like sat up from her lean on the counter, but seems to have put her pencil down and is now fully chatting with you. I do some pretty good business, honestly. You'd be surprised how often people come in looking for tattoos of their son's name or something like that. But there's some pretty
I
good
would
ones
assume.
too.
I mean, I would assume there's no shortage of big, scary, menacing people looking to get a couple of face tattoos to be even more big and scary and menacing.
All
Especially
the
in the
time.
Forgotten Realms.
It's so funny because I get to watch those like big beefy men cry. Anyway,
Sorry.
yeah.
You had that side in you.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Never realized you had that kind of side in you.
I mean, I used to work outside the torture tent. You remember that, right? Way back when?
Base Nahiri.
Base Nahiri is.
It's been a long time. We've known each other. Huh.
Yeah, basically. And still, that's still scary, I'm not going to lie.
Well, anyway, enough reminiscing about circuses and time. What brings you here?
Me? I mean, I was looking to go see a friend, Fenrir Shinebright. He's our sort of confidant when it comes to matters related to polyplanal transit theory.
Oh, so you're like planning on going back to Firewatch?
Yes.
Huh, you're so lucky. Literally just earlier today, the other group came by and left the rose with me.
An odd coincidence.
Yeah, isn't that weird? They're still on the other side, by the way.
Other
I
side?
think it's probably best if you leave them alone. They were carrying a dead body.
Oh, of course, I don't mean to intrude, and I certainly don't mean to impose myself onto certain matters.
Yeah, it seemed like pretty serious business, but not like that serious of business. You know what I mean? Anyway, she plants the rose in the ground. You see the cracks form and go ahead.
Give the others my regard.
Yeah, it'll be open in the morning.
All right.
Tomorrow
See
morning.
you around.
Yeah. And
Oh,
as you're in this black liminal space, you see once again the two doors, the one to Firewatch and the one that's encased in gnarly budding wood.
he's gonna glance at it for a quick moment before, like, contemplating, and then just like, just out of intriguing curiosity, not out of like a desire to actually go through, right? And he's going to go through the portal.
So you're going through the Fey portal?
Oh, not the Fey portal, the Firewatch portal.
Oh, because like I had something prepared.
Oh, Firewatch
Oh.
Fey portal another time. I didn't pack a lunch, and apparently you
right.
need one.
It's exactly. All right, here you go. Oh, hold on. They're actually in the wrong spot. They are not in the kitchen. At this moment in time. They are over here. As you make your way in, you hear muffled voices coming from the. Oh, actually, as you make your way into Firewatch, as you're climbing up the ladder into the kitchen area, you hear a chime as you enter. And as you finish climbing up, you see on her hands and knees is none other than Janor, who is actively cleaning up blood that has been smeared across the ground.
Has Janor noticed me?
Oh yeah, she says, "Oh." She kind of leans back, wipes her forehead with the back of her wrist. Hey, Edward.
You seem pretty nonchalant for someone who's actively cleaning up a pile of blood from the floor.
I'm so overwhelmed right now. I don't recommend bothering them. They've been yelling / talking very loudly for the past 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Well, I mean,
Seems-
judging from Nahiri's remarks, whatever they're doing, I'm assuming I want nothing to do with, on the premise of maintaining plausible deniability, so
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to avoid that general direction. Edward is gonna snap his fingers, he's gonna press-a-digitate the floor and clean it up.
she gets up.
I mean, I
Thanks.
should at least help.
Yep, that would have made things a lot easier. They didn't bother doing that. Anyway. Thanks. Dinner will be ready at 5. She says as she walks away.
Okay.
As you kind of pull up your, or do you enlarge, reduce your griffin? What do you do here?
Just shrink them down into the size of a puppy. I don't know, how big are griffins? How big is 1/4 of a griffin?
That
Probably
would
the
be
house cat? No, a dog?
How big is 1/8 of a kitten? 1/8 of a griffin, house cat sized?
I was an eighth house cat.
Eighth of a griffin, I would guess it'd be like a gerbil.
Yeah, he's just gonna see Edward carrying this house cat sized griffin with him. Yeah,
Little baby griffin.
Oh, by the way, this is Eustace. Eustace is gonna try to roar, except he's 1/8 his size, so it comes out as this cute squeal. Don't worry, he doesn't bite unless I tell him to.
George says, what do griffins eat?
I mean, really, I don't know. Probably not corpses, though. Although I haven't verified that answer, but,
We have enough corpse-eating things around here. We don't. But, he's cute. I guess he can have an orange. As she, kind of futs around. She's, now gone back to her business.
Okay.
As she prepares for dinner.
Also, all of our treasures on Firewatch Island, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna launder those later, so I'm gonna tell Janor. Oh, by the way, I do plan on staying in for overnight, or probably within the next couple days, depending on how it goes. I'll be in my study if, I'll be in my study or somewhere around in the basement where the coffers are. Present.
Sounds like a plan. As
Take
you
care.
walk out and fly your way over to
Broken Bank.
Broken Bank. Brine, you You fly your way to school.
Hell yeah, so much better than the train.
Oh. It felt like just earlier today you were wandering the campus, avoiding the pinnacle. I'm just kidding.
This is feeling oddly familiar. Anyway. Well, I really need to go talk to my study group. Barkley was really stressed earlier. And if anybody could help me out with both, both Moonzic's problems and with this, well, it's probably him or Professor Lamont. I don't know anybody's timetables. God, that hasn't happened in so long. It's like noon. So they could be in class. You can see Brine is stumped for a second, trying to figure out.
If only you had sending.
Trying to figure out how to get in contact with her friends. She knows when they meet together, but like that's in hours, and she doesn't want to wait that long. If I were Barkley, where would I be? If I were in the morning, where would I be? Wonder if she still has the same office, and she's gonna go towards Nemorin's office from like 3 years ago.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been 3 years. Actually, it wasn't. It was fairly recently. You were actually at Namorin's office.
Is it really? Oh yes, you're right. You're right. She's gonna head towards Nemorin's office.
As you approach, you kind of listen up your ear on the door, and you do not ear on the door. You see light. Fuck no, because it's the middle of the day. You go to Professor Namorin's office. You open up her door, unlocked, and and they are just sitting there at their desk, working on something of the other. As you walk in, their eyes kind of perk up, and Professor Namorin says, "Well, if it isn't Brine, if it isn't Brine, so happy to see you."
Happy to see
Stands
you
up,
as well.
gives you a little pat. Please sit. I heard you were sent off on a on behalf of the Cobalt Soul, yes?
Yep. Reporting all tasks succeeded successfully.
Wonderful to hear. The Finches are very much respected here at the Cobalt Soul, as I'm sure you're aware.
I know they're very generous. And quite frankly, they were quite generous to us as well. As not just myself as a member of the Soul, but also to my party in their aid. So I'm grateful to be put into contact with them, as are they.
Wonderful to hear. I don't think we've had an opportunity to talk since I last saw you.
Yeah, I suppose we haven't. Last time I was heading in for the audience. I suppose you're desperately curious. I mean, I would be.
You see, she is like head on hands, leaning forward.
Well, Ion did manage to help me out of my contract with Ukatoa. I had to leave behind quite a lot of power in order for that to happen. But she sent a messenger of some kind to help me in the pursuit of knowledge that could hijack some of that power back. She's
Hmm.
gonna go off to E.
Wow.
I do have a quest from Ayun herself, although I'm not sure why a goddess wants me to do this, but she wants me to find a Ayun stone in Allfield.
Well, Ioun stones can be rather powerful.
She wants me to destroy it. That's the weird part about this.
Well, as I'm sure you're aware, some knowledge is simply too powerful.
Not even sure what form it takes, so perhaps that's knowledge I can't share yet. But I'm happy to be finally with a patron I believe is trying to do the right thing. And I'm pursuing the different ways that I might still be in contact with the school while staying with my party to be able to complete adventures such as the one Ayun just sent me on. With that in mind, I'm working on something I've dubbed the Tome of Sending. It's based off of something I've heard warlocks getting, but trying to make it something that comes from artifice instead. Something that I know wasn't exactly my specialty beforehand, but I've been getting a lot of help with, and she's gonna look at Tui. Kind of pointedly.
Oh, that is quite interesting. Um, so tell me about this book. Maybe we can work on it together.
That would be amazing. Essentially, the goal is to essentially make a scroll of sending, but drastically reduce the magical powers such that it doesn't cause the sending scroll to dissipate, nor for the nor for it to require a significant amount of magical power in order to cast. The main problems, as far as I can tell, are the magical power and the targeting. A lot of cheaper versions of spells that, like sending, that can be spammed much easier, like message. Well, they're limited both by range and by the indication being pointing at the creature. In sending, you can just name any creature and hold an image of them in your mind. Plus, it doesn't care about distance. If I had a way of targeting and a way of somehow reducing distance, or making distance a non-factor, we could change these passages here in sending, and well, it would be much more similar to message in that case, reducing the magic limit incredibly.
Mm-hmm. My approach to making something along this would probably be to take what sending stones do and try to have some sort of translator
Mm.
interface. That would be my approach.
Well, sending stones are specific persons.
Yes.
They transmit between a pair. If I were to somehow get somebody's magical signature, I could use that to do the targeting at the very least. What if they were to sign their name in a book or something?
I think that would work just fine.
It leaves the
Perfect.
problem of distance. Sending stones are paired such that, well, and she brings out a book on specific how to make specific magic items. See, they're paired at the moment of creation. I can't pair two pieces of paper together because of the process that goes. Sending stones, they're made out of the same rock.
This
I
is
can't
true.
do that. I get the magical signature, that still helps with targeting, but I can't use the fact that they're the same thing to deal with the distance. Although, that doesn't explain how they deal with the distance. How do sending stones deal with the distance anyway?
Well, it is, as far as I understand it, exactly as you had said. The fact that this particular material, the stones, the sending stones, they are paired, they are bonded, right? You're looking for a way to manufacture that bond.
Right, but I'm hoping I can do it in such a way that what other ways can I manufacture a bond? Magical signature, yes, but a bond in space as well. I couldn't do it with two paired books, those aren't close enough.
Think about it more abstractly. Take a step back. What would constitute a bond?
An agreement?
An agreement?
Yeah,
An agreement between two stones?
an agreement
agree-
between two people.
Yes. I could see that.
So the signature is a deal, like a pact.
I wonder how that might work.
Well, then the magic could be front-loaded. Yes, a pact doesn't require a constant drain on a patron, right? They impart that magic prior to the usage of it. It's a lot of upfront magic, but if we were to create a tome and dump a lot of magical power into it at the beginning, once the signature was made, the magical power would... the deal is done. Now the deal is... You can see her just like rifling through the things she's learned about warlock deals and fey deals and all of this. I'm thinking about it all wrong. It's not sending at all. The sending nomenclature is all wrong for this. It's deal nomenclature. It's granting permission to access one's mind. And the conditions are just that it needs to be written in the book and they can respond and it will show up on the other page. It's a deal. It's a conditional deal.
The question would be, would they be making a deal with you or the book?
I mean, couldn't we just test both clauses? Find out?
Certainly.
Would you be willing to be the first trial in this book?
It would be my pleasure.
And it's going to take her literally 8 hours just poring over the different nomenclatures of the deals and pouring magical powers and short resting and pouring more magical energy into this book entirely to make sure that it has enough to make the deals required. And she's going to try it. She's going to first try it with the agreement being on the book so that anybody who holds the book can do it.
Go ahead and do you want to do an Arcana check?
Yeah. Arcana. That is a 23. Only the first one counts.
With a 23, I would say that meets a 19, or beats it, in fact. So, you realize that there is you do the deal, and you can make a deal between the book and the recipient / sender. But it feels inefficient. And there's also the problem that pops up of anybody having access to the book and security measures. While you certainly could add security measures on top of it, what do you think?
Well, I mean, the more I think about this, the nomenclature is actually quite scary. You see, one of the hopes I had for this technology was that it could change how we do communication with almost anybody. You know, we produce these tomes of sending and it works to connect our world in such a different way. But I mean, the problem is whoever has access to the book can just enter your mind and talk into it. And a clever enough mage, well, they could change some nomenclature in the deal, and it's not just talking that they could do to your mind. It's incredibly dangerous stuff. I could do it, I think, but even if we did, I don't think the Cobalt Soul would ever publish this knowledge. It would end up being another fun science project that a few people could use, but way too dangerous to actually give out to the public.
And if you're planning on making it accessible to more than just yourself, the book would basically need to translate the deal, right? The deal, the contract between somebody else and somebody else. It needs to be a sort of...
Well, the way I was doing it was the book and the person, right? So I'm not even really involved in that, other than providing the initial magical source for the book, right? Then, you know, you could produce a second or third book the exact same way with the exact same nomenclature. Anybody who signs gets in there, but the problem is how easy it is to edit. Because it's a deal, as we've talked about with deals, different conditions could be put in, could get really, really dangerous very quickly. Meanwhile, if it's person-to-person deals, right, then somebody else who holds the book doesn't gain access to my contacts and can't do anything I wouldn't want them to do. It's safer this way, but it's not scalable. I mean, it certainly fills my purposes. I still have the technology, but I'd hope to do something good for the world. Oh well, I can't do anything good for the world by damning it to scam calls and telemarketers.
Well, I suppose you could think of a way that you could make it more secure. Maybe something externally. A passcode, if you will. Of course, something like that is always dangerous. Somebody could get a hold of the said password. But it would at least stop the issues on the surface. If that makes sense.
We talked about making 2 books for a reason, right? What if? And hear me out on this one. I'm going to make the version that is just myself. And for that version, I'm going to see if I can make it 2-way, such that those in there can also write a message to me and intend to send it with this bit of text here, and I can receive it backwards. I'll make use of the fact that the deal is 2-way in that way. And the second version, the version that was meant for scalability and public use, I'll leave the research to the Cobalt Soul. It can be a project of sorts. Something I'd certainly want my name on, but as I said, it's a science project right now, not something that can yet go out. But it's certainly something I think with the right research could be a very big thing.
Could be. And it's about that time that you must go before you are late for the meeting of the historians.
Did I have time to put together the 2-way book, or no?
Yes, so you currently have, with the help of Professor Namorn, you have Namorn's contact, basically.
Okay.
You spent like 8 hours on it. You're an artificer. You've been talking about doing this for a long time. This is your breakthrough.
So we have the Tome of Sending.
We'll figure out some specifics, but you now have contact to Namorn, and Namorn has contact with you. Right?
Yeah. It was never ever going to be sending to anybody infinitely always.
Right.
So
I will end up like creating not right now because we're doing this as we go, but I will end up creating a some conditions on it.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
But like basically, you get it. Like
yeah. Awesome. Well, now I can go ask Barkley what his problem is without harassing him about this. I can't believe that worked. Brian's gonna write in her message book now that she's farther away, as was planned as one of the test things. Just made it outside the school. Thank you again so much.
You see written back to you, like very Tom Riddle, Tom Riddle's diary-esque. You can see as Professor Namorn writes to you. You see, it was my pleasure. It works! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
Now to make sure it works when I'm in Marquette. Let's make sure this doesn't scale off distance. But yes, I don't see why distance would be a problem with the way we worded this. It's awesome. And she draws like the biggest smiley face on the page before it melts away.
And going back to Moonzic. We are going to take a brief break, come right back up, pick up with Moonzic for his second half, so on and so forth. And then we'll have a little bit of time for shopping at the end.
Sounds good. We'll see you all shortly for the second half.
Yo, that's awesome. Emily, you thought of that?
For what?
Okay, so
I think
what do
that
you-
Emily was
racking-
going off of you. That was some good thinking there.
You know, I had no idea about anything, and Professor Nomorn is out here, like, pushing me towards really cool answers that I would never have thought of. And that's amazing, and Emily is a rock star.
Biased.
I'm
But
blown away, Emily. Oh my god, that's such a cool answer, and yes, I recognize I might have driven to some parts of that, but you definitely guided me there, and that's such a cool answer, and it's so bright, and it's so story beat heavy, and it's so awesome. Emily?
Yeah. Woo! You're welcome. Thanks, I guess, for the compliment. I've had, there's like, and this goes for how a lot of people have their things, right? The answers to your questions do change, like how you can arrive at your answers in many different ways, right? Like, and that's okay. And one of the thoughts that I had was, yeah, like, it makes sense if it's like a sort of pact of the toe, right?
Yeah. I'm literally going for what is essentially a warlock power, except from an artificer standpoint. So it having everything to do with pacts makes so much sense, and I love it beyond anything. And it also would explain why it's not like just straight up a magic item. Already, you know? Because a lot of magic, like, kind of looks down on pact magic, you know?
Yeah.
I love it so much. It's so cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now Rocky has to ask a bunch of questions that don't mean anything to his
I don't necessarily know if that's true.
well, I mean, I don't get to talk to him
Or
before he
Emily's
gets
come
to
up
see
with a way.
Fenrir Shine, right? And I can't message him. He hasn't signed the book yet. Ask a bunch of meaningless questions.
I think that it's not useless questions. I think these
Fair.
are interesting questions.
Fair.
Questions that may elaborate on some other things, right? This is how it goes, right?
Mm-hmm. And the pursuit of one knowledge, you might find other knowledge.
And right now, there's a lot of questions about polyplanar transit theory.
Yeah, I love asking questions. What's a question?
Right. I am going to go for a bit, and we'll come back. I probably actually want like 20 minutes, so if we can do like 7:30, that would actually be great.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Yo.
Shout out to my one viewer, Dawn, who's just chilling in chat.
Yo, what's up, Don?
What's up, Dawn?
Dawn of Time 06.
I left the door wide open again.
Hey, it's my D&D night. Sorry.
How dare.
I know.
How dare you have a D&D night?
Wouldn't be me. Literally not playing D&D right now. As we... God, could you imagine, though?
Playing D&D?
Like, imagine if we were...
No.
Yeah, me neither.
Good thing we don't have to imagine it.
Oh god, an alternative twisted reality is the good timeline.
A good timeline. Yes.
Can I see it?
No.
No.
Are we all here?
Yep.
No.
No.
Okay.
I don't know where Rocky is actually.
What do you mean you don't know where Rocky is?
Okay,
Am I
we
invisible?
know where he is.
I don't.
No?
So,
Am I still invisible?
yep.
Apparently I'm invisible now.
So,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. May I see it?
No.
ready to begin here.
Well, I'm pooped.
All right, we are back from break. Whenever you're ready, Emily.
Oh, well, 1 second. Now. You walk back in, following pretty shortly behind, Isla, as you guys are still both breathing heavily from all of the sparring, as you make your way through the door, to get yourself, all cleaned up and ready for dinner, basically. Mateo comes across you all as you're making your way inside, maybe laughing, chittering about something or the other. As you walk in, he looks at you both and makes eye contact with you in particular, Moonzic, and says, "As I've heard, your friends have left. I would like to invite you for dinner tonight.
It would be my pleasure.
He gives you a nod and walks off. Isla turns to you. Well, he's being friendlier than I expected.
You expected them to be different about this?
Not exactly. I snuck by and talked with him a little bit earlier, and he seemed upset.
Was it
About what exactly he would say.
Do you
Men and their pride.
Do you think it was something that I said?
Maybe? I can't think of exactly what. But I don't know. He's got this... He had this look in his eyes. Sad, longing look. But also... He seemed... very cold. It's hard to tell with my father. You see, he's... a pretty well-kept man. So when he gets all emotional, it's hard to read.
I can imagine so. It's not every day that one's defenses have penetrated, whether it be whether the intention is there to get past those defenses or not. I can understand that.
You would know all about penetrating defenses, wouldn't you?
I remember you saying something about your mother earlier. She's not around?
No. She died. It was probably 6 years ago now.
6 years ago. I'm so sorry. That's still quite vivid for you, I imagine.
Yeah, I think about her every day. Anyway, to happier topics. Not that I don't want to talk about my mom. No, I don't want to talk about my mom right now. I'm really enjoying our conversation. So let's go back to the playful, flirty banter.
Well, if you insist.
That was your attempt?
That...
And with that, she gives you like a playful like little nudge and says, come on, let's get ready for dinner. And you do. Fast forwarding just a little bit.
A few hours later.
With Mateo's plate half empty from eating already.
You exactly.
Oh no.
The meal begins quietly. Not a lot of business to be said. People are just kind of eating. You get a couple of like playful kicks from Isla, who is pretending like clearly nothing is wrong.
Nope.
And
No, sir.
had and just been in basically silence. What do you say when you feel this oppressive silence, if anything?
Trying to think. Give me a second. I've never tasted a combination of herbs like this before. What did your cooks use?
Herbs de Providence.
Never come across that combination before. Exquisite.
It's yes, it's quite popular in these parts. And not too uncommon. Um, but I will relay compliments to the chef. Boris. His name is Chef Boris.
Wonderful.
Anywho. I've been doing a fair deal of thinking. So, coming up here in a matter of 3 weeks, is the Alliance Summit. It is a variety of merchants and other influential figures will come together. There's some showcasing. There's usually a bit of auctioning, but all for good. All for good things. But mostly, the summit is where people go to strengthen alliances and discuss negotiations. Given everything you have said, I think a good next step for not only us, but your venture back to Marquette and your little company would be to showcase you there as a rising player.
That would definitely be an interesting play indeed.
There are a lot of powerful people here, he cautions you. And you really, really don't want to upset or get on the bad side of anyone at the Alliance Summit.
Well, it's never been my intention to get on anybody's bad side unless they've crossed me first.
Well, sometimes getting on people's bad side does have its benefits, but not for you. As you're as I said before, a rising player.
So, showcasing me as myself, I would take it, Prince Zaya, would certainly stir quite a bit of word around the merchant scene, as well as a fair bit of Wildemount as well.
It could, if you want to take that large of a step right now. It might be worth just going as Moonzic. Then again, if we want to go a little bit flashier, I was thinking that I could see what rumors could be spread about the Lost King.
The Lost Prince, rumored to be returning soon. It would cause quite a stir. It would gain a lot of attention, a lot of eyes towards Marquette. And then, if things go well and I return to power, trade routes could certainly be thrown open.
Especially given all of the recent advancements in transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Isla says. I should say, that was Isla.
Okay. That is true. I know Uncle Rel especially is in possession of airships. That makes traveling fairly quick.
That and I want Isla to say that, of course, and all of the advancements in particularly teleportation.
That is true as well.
But I think Mateo says, I think starting you off as a growing player as a Legati company might be able to allow you to get a better sense of some of the more powerful individuals. Not just here on the coast, but on Wildemount.
That would be a good idea. I agree. I would need a few people in my corner if I do wish to take back Ankarel. Do a few things as the Legati company, do a few favors for them, and in turn they are able to do something for us.
That is how these things tend to work. I would.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Please.
Is there anyone in particular that I should be wary of, or maybe lean more towards?
There would be a fair bit of study that you would need to do ahead of time. There's a lot you need to be wary of. And a lot you should steer clear from. Listing them all out to you right now would be pointless. They have houses and and trade routes and interactions and contracts and much too much to go over while eating dinner. Alternatively, since I've been studying this for my entire life, I could be by your side and point things out to you. Well, I don't necessarily know if that is necessary, Mateo says. He can easily memorize it. Unless you have something better to be doing.
I'm sure I could memorize these things quickly if I needed to, but memorizing such an abundant amount of information in such a short amount of time, I'm sure I'm bound to get some things crossed and mixed up. It wouldn't be bad to have someone there to keep my knowledge straight.
Mateo gives a little humph. Well, I suppose it's not a bad idea to make it known that we are taking interest in your company. It does have a level of the summit does include a gala after all.
I suppose I should inform the rest of my party that they should be well dressed for the occasion. Perhaps
That is a given.
Perhaps we can sweeten the deal even further by bringing along some bottles of our wine.
Now that you mention it, I do happen to be in fairly close contact with the location this year. It is over in... This one's for you Mistborn fans. In House Venture. I couldn't think of anything else. Over in House Venture. where the summit's going to be held this year. So I may be able to ask around and see if they can't serve some of your wine at the gala, the summit. That would certainly boost your name.
Mm-hmm.
Though you would need more than just a mere couple of bottles.
Of course, and with such a reputable tradesman such as yourself backing me, or backing us, and quite a few stories of our adventures, I'm sure our name will be the buzz of the entire event.
Not to mention, it kind of feels out of a little tasteless to use the Sylvia family wine. That is standard at the summit.
I've always found the Sylvia wine to be tasteless in and of itself. But given the recent events, I would agree on a political stance as well.
No. I will look into see what I can't do to make that happen. And yes, Isla, I think it might be a fine idea for you to go with Moonzic. And he just begins eating. He does not elaborate any further. He's just like, I'm gonna finish this plate. And
I am done here.
I can't show how much this is affecting me, so I'm going to eat.
Eats the rest of dinner in silence while maintaining full eye contact.
Isla kind of like nudges, like kind of like places, because you guys are sitting next to each other, kind of places her hand under the table, like against the side of your thigh, and gives you a little like half smirk as she then continues eating.
Hey, what the fuck?
She's happy. She's excited. She gets to go to the gala with music. Now, back in at the abode of Fenrir Shinebright. Knock, knock, knock. Fenrir opens the door. He's got a big woolen coat on, and his house is like weirdly cold. Well, if it isn't Moonzic.
Excuse me?
I love that it's a woolen coat. Also, you said Moonzic's not Rocky.
Oh,
Not
Moonzic.
Rocky's character.
Edward. Well, if it isn't Edward. Come in. Mind the chill.
It would almost be funnier if he actually did say Moonzic, because it would imply that something's not quite
Like,
right.
he just doesn't recognize who's who. We all look the same to him.
Like he's getting names crossed.
Well, he knows who Edward is.
I
He knows
know.
who Edward is. Mind the cold. As he lets you in.
Might I inquire as to why it's so awfully chilly? By the way, I'm particularly bothered. And like to his general like redness of body and like, you know, being on fire, kind of, not really.
Well, he kind of begins futzing around with things, and he said, he was saying, I was wondering how intensely the external temperature can affect the ability for certain pocket dimensions to open or close.
See.
You see, there's several bags of holding, and even a portable hole like spread out around his little house. Let me actually move it to the trend rights. Actually, have that.
Well, I take it that you've been busy with your studies recently. We can skip to the pleasantries and all. But I found a couple of prospects that could be potentially exciting, and I would like to seek your counsel and expertise on this particular topic.
Please. He gestures to his table. It's like there's like a lot of papers and stuff on it, so he kind of kind of pushes it aside. Sit. He's like invites you over in the room over here or something.
I'm gonna take this. Oh, also, this package is for you, right? Edward is going to, hand him the USPS package and say, courtesy of the USPS, who claims that they always make their deliveries on time.
He reads the letter. You see as he reads, he kind of says like, "Find you Dunrock Mountains alive? Oh my." And he's like kind of like muttering himself as he reads the note.
Might I inquire as to the implications of this particular package and the contents held within?
He looks at you. I need to quickly do this.
Insight check.
Yes. Can everybody see that?
3?
Rolling a
Yeah.
d20?
Oh my god.
Like his willpower?
No. Yeah. That's
No.
his insight.
Oh my god.
It says, it appears to be some rock and soil samples.
Yes, that is what it appears to be. Might I inquire as to the implications of these rock and soil samples and what the data held within it, or at least what information held within it, would mean
Another
as relation
insight
to
check.
the
Well,
permanence of the material plane and the fabric of our reality.
You're just giving away the fucking... You're just giving it away that you looked at his fucking package.
hold on, he's got disadvantage.
I am a divination.
Oh my god!
I am a divination wizard after all.
He says, well, there could be some drastic complications. Have I ever told you about my polyplanar transit theory?
Oh, he is fucking losing it.
Yes, all the time. In fact, it's the reason I'm here, actually. It's such intriguing topics. Your expertise is rivaled by none.
Well, in that explanation, a visual, if you imagine a sheet of ice with little pricks put in it, over time...
Sledgehammers? I remember. I very studiously had such a delightful, fruitful conversation of such.
If cracks are forming where there has been no pinprick, I would see that as a problem, wouldn't you?
Absolutely. I take it that this proverbial ice is starting to melt in some way.
Melt is not quite right. Although it's not a possibility.
Well,
A
then, what
meshing,
is
a
happening?
melding together of two planes. I wonder if there's any examples we have of that kind of occurrence.
You implying that this entire plane is merging with another?
No. There is, of course, that possibility of what would happen if the sheet of ice were to break completely. But I definitely wouldn't use melting as the verbiage. More like a bunch of chopped up bits. Fractured,
No,
separate.
fragments of other worlds colliding with ours.
But not in a so literal. Like, it's not like, well, I suppose it might be possible, depending on where the rift was created, that you would have, like, an island fall out of the sky. And it would depend on what plane it was from. Yes, too many factors. And, to be honest, how much of a possibility is that, really?
I mean, I couldn't imagine it being likely, but I wouldn't think it would be wise to not account for it.
True enough. But yes. This is troubling news indeed. He kind of hands you the paper to read. But not knowing that you have already read it.
I am a divination wizard after.
He spends the next 10 minutes ritual casting Identify. Doesn't appear to
I
be.
just cast it for him, like non-ritually.
Could you cast what?
Well, I mean, I told him that I've already casted it non-ritually, right? Can I just tell him? Or is this like something he has to specifically do?
No, you can do it. You can tell him.
Okay, I'm just going to save the time. Where I'm valuable as yours. Here, let me. And I'm going to cast it immediately, so we don't have to wait 10 minutes.
Ah, yes. And the results?
Okay, I'm going to ask the DM what the results are.
Same as what they were before. You've already casted on this.
Okay. Well, I mean, you know, it doesn't explicitly, outwardly appear to be magical in nature, but, like, you know, I'm assuming your expertise on this topic matter could bring us a little bit more insights as to what is really going on.
Of course, I didn't genuinely expect the soil samples around the so-called cracks to give off any sort of magical nature. I mean, the nature of portals is a absence of space, right? It is an absence, a negative. Why would it affect the things around it? Then again, there is, when two locations are connected for an extended period of time, there is an amount of sharing, but that is only between one plane and the other. The actual portal itself. Sorry. I just got a little sick. A little nauseous. The portal itself, and how it affects the area around it. Edward, remind me, how does your rose work?
I mean, you plant it into the ground and it exerts at least some sort of area around it that opens up into a portal, and within the portal there is sort of a miniature realm within it that allows for the transit of individuals through. The individual realms held within have tiny doorways, and as of currently there are well, there are two doorways. One of them to the Rose's position, the other to an additional area in which we haven't explored quite yet.
And remind me,
You can
what
see I'm
was...
kind of like subtly sort of directing the conversation away from the fact that it's connected to the Feywild because it could be potentially sensitive information.
You have not talked to him about that before? I'm pretty sure you have.
No. Have I? Never mind. I did then. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the whole... Yeah, the Feywild has come up on occasion.
Okay.
So yes, and remind me one more time, and your connection with the Feywild. How did that? Because it didn't begin with that connection. You manufactured it, yes?
No, it was a connection in which we acquired eventually by visiting, or proverbially pricking the pinprick around a previous location that had been connected to the Feywild previously.
An area where the ice was thinned.
Exactly, and it is at least the prevailing theory that, for me at least, that well, I'm able to open up different locations if those particular locations have been opened up before.
I see. Well, describe to me the visual. What you experience in the area around it, using your senses, of course, when the rose is planted.
Experience, a great big flash occurs before, the ground tears up, splinters across into an astral gateway, from which we step inside normally by, stepping inside, and afterwards, we appear in a dimension in which we can access certain doorways that are open in this dimension, and that is what happens whenever we open up this astral doorway.
And the cracks form on the ground, the walls, the area around the rose, yes?
Yes.
Have you ever tried opening up with the rose in mid-air?
Oh, there's no floor to plant it within, but I can't... I'm not really sure. The rose must be planted within the floor.
Does it?
Are you talking about within an object in motion in the air?
Potentially.
So, throw something in the air and then plant it into the thing while it's floating. Correct?
Clearly you haven't tried it yet.
No. That is an intriguing experiment, though.
Regardless, this letter, to go back to the point, I'm trying to find a way to explain it to you that is in a way that you would understand.
With my current degree of literacy in this matter.
Yes. But what troubles me about this letter is the ways in which she describes, oh my gosh, there it is. The way in which she describes the cracks, the breaches. If I look back here, there was no flash of light, no sound. Oh, sorry. Until before that. A thin shimmering cracks running through the rock, glowing faintly as if alive. I have to wonder if those cracks are implanted in reality, like in the material, or if they're more ethereal in nature.
Are you saying that this rose in itself is a liability to reality, or at least a danger to the fabric of reality in which it causes some sort of permanence within the gateways of the spaces passed between?
I mean, you have already so much as said that yourself.
Yes, I suppose. I mean, should I stop using this?
I do not know. Does a logger stop cutting down trees simply because trees are living? And this is a terrible analogy.
Well, you said it, not me.
My point is, I don't have the answers for you. I don't know what long-term consequences there might be for your rose. But there certainly might be one. Now, you did mention something quite interesting when talking about how you acquired the other door. If my theory is correct, your doorway formed in an area where the sheet of ice was thin. And if you were to, say, use the rose in another area where the sheet of ice was thinned, I would assume you'd be able to manufacture the same result. Do you know of any other areas where you could test that hypothesis?
I actually do, in fact. Currently not within my means right now, but, well, you see, the entire reason why I've suddenly and spontaneously acquired and vested interest into your particular field of study is mostly because I have parents that have been swept away into another plane of existence somehow by a different entity, force, something. And it is currently my prime imperative that I bring them back. And through a little bit of probing around the memories of another individual, I did find an area in which they. I found a general area in which they have gone missing from, or were last seen before they were pulled away into that dimension. It currently is. Well, it's currently on my list of agendas in which I have to go find that area and replant the rose there to see whether or not an opening or crack can reform.
And to be honest, you wouldn't even really need to have the rose. If that is true. You would just need to be able to punch a big enough hole.
Well,
And
currently
and
punching a hole is outside of my means of capability.
is it? Edward, do an Arcana check.
Am I missing?
Wow! Guess what?
21
You have a flower.
inner binding scroll?
No, you have the nightshade flower.
It's not in my inventory.
Your
Was
team
this
has
given
it.
to me? Gilded Nightshade?
Yeah, the Gilded Nightshade.
I think Brine has that.
Yeah, it's not in my inventory.
It's in the possession of your party. Which entire purpose is to punch a hole. Permanent portals.
Yeah. And yes, I have that.
Well, now I know that she has that, and I can say, well, I suppose it is, but wouldn't it be reckless in order to open up a permanent portal somewhere in the middle of nowhere?
If it is merely to a demiplane. Reckless, sure. but possible. Very, very possible.
I see. This does give me a lot more to think on. Generally speaking, though, is there any particular things that I should be looking out for as to have something to look for in terms of hints and clues that an area might have been, trespassed on by other planes or planar entities? Places that
Well,
I can identify where the cracks between the ice are thin.
Brainstorm. I don't know. I don't have a response to this. So he says, I'm sure there are a few things that might be a indicator. Sudden changes in temperatures, uncanny feelings, a different a different style of plant growth. Things of that nature.
I see. And generally speaking, what do you think? I mean, what do you think there are in terms of dangers of doing such a thing? Do you think there's anything that comes as a liability when I do punch holes into the thin proverbial ice sheet?
I mean, punch too many holes in the thin ice and it would collapse. But the sheet of ice is quite large. Surely not just one person would be able to single-handedly collapse the entire stability of the material plane. Then again, it does only take one. Final.
I see. And also, in terms of communications, I mean, a friend of mine is working on some fancy little trinket or, thing that called the Book of Sending. I'm wondering about your particular insights and expertise on the matter with allowing the Book of Sending to, connect to planar portals in some way. A trick that's so minute and minuscule that the sheet of ice mends almost right away. Wouldn't that be able to reduce the cost? Would it be possible to reduce the cost of doing so, such that we can effectively do this indefinitely, without incurring any sort of magical fatigue?
Are you saying there's a potential to heal the cracks that have formed? Is that what you're getting at?
No, I mean, like, would it be possible to use the Book of Sending without having it, exhaust itself over the day? Like, with the application of portals to connect it rather than, using magic to strengthen it.
It's an interesting question. You asked some very tough questions. That I don't necessarily have the direct answers to. You say, tell me how this works. I say, potentially like this. Like, using the portals to connect one item to another is possible, but we've seen what happens if you try to connect one portal to a separate one outside of your circumstances with the rose. I mean, think of what happens when you put a I don't know, this bag of holding, he picks up a bag of holding. Inside of this portable hole, he holds up a portable hole.
Oh, of course, reality collapses itself, and it's a one-way ticket back into the astral plane.
So it would have to be a singular portal versus two, if that makes sense. Or two with something intermediary in between.
Oh, I take it not feasible?
Feasible, sure. Anything is feasible. Most things are.
Not practical in the terms of utilitarian sense.
It'd be difficult. Though I imagine if you were able to do so, you could create a sort of web. All these extra points coming to a singular conclusion. And then that singular gets sent back out.
Yo, magical internet?
Is this what this is, Emily? Magical internet?
Maybe, I don't know.
Did we just invent the internet, but it's high fantasy?
No. You need Turing machines to do that, which, by the way, you can actually have.
Make Turing machines out of anything. Out of crabs, if you wanted to. What do you think about this whole... Well, you know, what do you think about this whole... like, ordeal in...
I think if there are naturally, or quote, naturally occurring cracks happening during a mining expedition of all things, it would tell me that, if anything, there's probably some very serious hole punching happening in that region.
And that would assume that I would assume that this takes, you know, a presence of a certain person, right? This isn't something naturally occurring. This is far beyond the capabilities of something happening at a natural rate, right?
Yes, of course. In a natural rate, over time, although a very long time, things do naturally heal themselves back together.
So, what I'm getting from this at least is that somebody's behind this, and somebody's causing the continued degradation of our current plane of existence.
You might have a point there.
I mean, given your expertise, do you have any theories as to who or what is causing this? Any particular confidants or, you know, like people of interest that you think are even capable of generating this degree of disruption?
Off the top of my head, I mean, the amount of resources would take that of an entire empire.
Entire empire?
Oh,
Well,
shit.
do you... I mean, do you think... I mean, this might be a shot in the dark. Do you have any clues or ideas as to who might be interested in causing such a disturbance in our current plane of existence?
Any large organization hoping to create a large amounts of teleportation, say, to the other side of a mountain range. Think of what the
What about two nations?
think of two nations at war.
Like
Or-
two nations away. Say if they were to arrange troops from halfway across the world into an invasion.
Which is certainly possible.
Well, I think I have
Probable,
an idea
unlike
of.
possible,
I think
certain.
I have an idea. I think I might just have an idea of who it might be.
And what is that?
Well, I mean, this is just theories and hearsay, and if I said it, you didn't hear it from me, but I'm thinking quite possibly, people, well, a foreign threat from Ankarel. I'm not sure if you've heard of the political stability in that particular location. But again, this is just theory and this is just guesswork, but it could possibly be them.
I was more thinking the Dwendalian Empire to Zorhas. But I suppose if going to the other side of the world might be more advantageous to a country.
I mean, I suppose so. You think they're going to weaponize this particular thing, the warfare with extraplanar portals?
Edward, if these cracks are anything like they might be, they already have.
And I suppose we should probably make haste on this. Do you know of a way to stop this or to slow down the creation of these portals? By anyone?
That's exactly what I was just studying. Hence the temperature in here. Conveniently enough, the temperature doesn't seem to have much of an effect on them.
Sorry. I
Well, I
think
mean-
the image is incredibly funny.
Well, I mean, update me if you have any theories. I'm always open for sending. I mean, so long as I'm not asleep, unconscious, or dead in any way. Which, I mean, given my previous exploit, seems to be far likelier prospect than I would hope to imagine. Unfortunately. But yes,
Well, I will let you know. Though, do me a favor, Edward. And
yes.
don't go dying. I do enjoy talking shop with you.
Course. One more proposition, but if you do have any ideas related to my friend's little pet project, my friend did propose to at least regale you about some tales about the Feywild. Apparently, she comes from the Feywild and has a deep, intimate knowledge on that particular plane. If you happen to be interested in anything of that sort.
I'm sorry, I got distracted. I had to focus on the colds just a little bit. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just mentioning, my friend is from the Feywild, and, well, she did promise that if you had anything related, she did promise that if you do help her with her little pet project, that she would at least regale you with some of the tales and stories and happenings of things in the Feywild, as she is a native to that location.
He
If you would
perks
be
up.
interested.
I most certainly would be interested. The Eladrin, yes?
Yes.
You see, a smile forms on his face. I will certainly get to work on something.
Of course. Let me know if you find any developments in your theories regarding shutting down one of these portals, and I'll be on my very. I'll be on my way.
Before you go, you wouldn't happen to have enough magical energy in you to spare a dispel magic, would you?
Brother Cold, anything for you. And I'm going to cast Dispel Magic.
Ah, thank you. I used it far too often.
No worries. I mean, they say that it's a thin line between genius. I mean, it's a thin line between genius and madness for those that are reckless. And, well, you know, at this point, I can tell you might be a bit of both.
Thanks for the compliment. Are you staying for dinner? I can cook up some lamb chops.
No. I mean, insight check to see if he's like actually just lonely and wants someone to talk to.
Insight check, do it.
5. Oh, I suppose I could have rolled importance. I didn't, but you know.
Yeah, no, he's probably content on his own. He's got a lot to think about.
Okay, well,
kind of looks like he might be doing an obligation. Kind of looks like, you know, he might be for the company. Either way, it looks like a lot of work.
Well, I mean, update me if you get anything related to this, even if it's just something small. And I'll see if I can spare a couple sendings your way to at least report on my findings on the other end.
And with that, you head out and begin to make your way back to Firewatch Island to grab some supper. And just for
I'm not gonna have dinner. I'm gonna money launder.
Okay. Tell me, what are you doing?
Okay, so back on Firewatch, I remember I did say this, right? But I did grab access to, like, you know, borrowed knowledge, and I did have access to Fabricate, which allows me to gain proficiency in any tool, and then use Fabricate with any tool to make anything that the tool can make, right?
Yep.
Going to extend the proficiency to the jeweler's kit that I own with borrowed knowledge, and then I'm going to then cast Fabricate on the jewels that we have in our current like stockpile of treasures and rings and stuff that we stole from the Soviet estate. And one by one, I'm going to sort of fabricate the jewelry into new pieces of probably upgraded quality jewelry, right? Such that the jewels like completely look different from before. The metalworking is different, probably in a different style or a different region, so that like, you know, it would imply that like, you know, it didn't even come from like the Sophia family estate, right? Or like, you know, have access to craftsmanship that aren't around the area of the Sophia family estate, right? To make it look like it is foreign and imported jewelry.
I see.
I love it.
Right, and I want to basically have as much like quote unquote like, you know, imported jewelry, like showcasing like ostentatious metalworking and like, you know, craftsmanship from like different regions of the world. And I want to sort of by the end of the day have a pile of gold and coins, like coins made from like, you know, foreign countries' currency, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like
so. I am going to have you roll a tool proficiency check. So I think it's just a d20.
And
I'm going to actually use your intelligence. So I'm actually going to have you roll an intelligence check with proficiency.
I'm going to force a 12 for a 19.
With a 19.
19.
Your proficiency is 7?
Intelligence plus proficiency is 7.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
You get a fair amount. You probably, over the course of the time that you're here, I mean, in terms of just raw gems and jewelry value at the top end, right? This is top end. You probably
As
have like,
expensive and fancy as I can get it.
well, I'm gonna say that this session has probably gained you the equivalent of 800 gold of jewelry, which is a lot of jewelry, by the way.
And how much sessions can I do of this, right? How much of the jewelry have I gotten through?
Can you please, I know we
Like,
talked
how
about
many
this,
times
but
can I do this? Like, you know,
I don't know what is considered game breaking and what isn't. That's my concern. I would
I
love,
mean, that's why I'm asking, because, like, I'm
right.
willing to break this as much
Um,
as you're allowing me to, so,
I know.
like,
I'm gonna
Ask
jump
me.
in here with economic scale. It's there is no amount of money you could give us at this point that would break the game. I know that sounds weird. Let me explain. We continuously interact with things that are expensive to the extreme of like 10,000 gold, right?
Right.
And those things represent an increase of our power that are relatively minor. Because at the end of the day, I'm capped out on things I can attune to. I have the boot, I have the staff, and I have another staff coming, right?
Right.
So whatever I would attune to, in terms of magical items, has to be better than that, right? And I've got really powerful magical items. The whole party has powerful magical items that we have. So anything that even represents a small increase of power is going to take exponentially more and more gold as we go along. Basically, the only way to break the game at this point in terms of money would be to either give us an infinite supply, which don't do that.
What we basically
Um, or to
give us a sink for our money in a way that we
somehow give
can,
us a sink
the
for
money
our
that
money.
isn't attunement
And
required, right?
I have been giving you guys plenty of money sinks. You have been using them.
Right.
I want to say I am not attuned. I'm attuned to one item, and that's the arcane spellbook.
So, like,
and like I don't have any gold. I have less than 1 gold to my name currently.
Well,
I have
honestly,
3
part of
copper
that
and 4
seems
silver.
like a total side note here. Like we did have like a whole session dedicated to claiming the magic items that the party has. So if you didn't claim any magic items, that seems like a problem.
I mean, I didn't want to, like, first off, like, I did claim some of the items that, like, got shuffled around, but they weren't attunement items. They were, like, magical grimoires and spellbooks. Like, you know, gave me access to spells or gave me access to abilities, like, you know, an extended spell list, right?
Right,
Which I got
like
fabricate from.
Yeah.
So,
the
like,
point.
it's not that I
I
didn't
just
get
want to
anything,
know,
it's
like,
that they
how
don't require
much how much do you think is reasonable for the party to be carrying around?
For, like, tier 2 going into tier 3, probably, like,
30
I
to
mean, like, I think the
40,000.
800 is, like, a good thing. Probably, like, allowing you to do that, like, twice, maybe 3 times if you're feeling generous, would be, like, a pretty big
That's
thing.
tier
So, like,
1.
saying 1/3.
I'm sorry, that's tier
Like,
1.
3 is, like, a
By the
lot
end of tier
once.
1, you're expected to be able to kit your entire party out with 1,500 gold plate mail. That's tier 1. We're in tier 2, man. It's higher than that. Significantly
Well, actually,
higher
we're
than
almost
that.
in tier 3. We're almost in tier 3.
We're like knocking on the door to tier 3, and this is the Sylvia family's
Right.
estates.
I'm not like this is my thing. It's like I don't like I want to make it like because this is between this and the uh the toll road and your relationship with the Finches, you should be able to develop a really solid plan of your money laundering situation. I just don't like as a DM, like I don't know what is the best way to calculate this out,
So
right?
when you guys got to level 7, right? And I think we're level 7 now.
8.
We're level 8
8
now.
now.
Yeah, we're level 8 now. When you guys got to level 7, I gave you guys 100,000 gold, and you guys found a way to use it, and it didn't break my game. So I'm saying anything under 100,000.
I have already given you, like, you guys have, like, plenty of money since you've used with this money before.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just because it's not, like, actual gold that you can just, like, throw around, like, exactly,
For
it doesn't mean
sure.
you guys have been using that. And you have
I'm not
island, a whole business, a trading fleet.
I'm not here telling you that we need to have 100,000 gold. I'm saying it could be up to 100,000 gold without breaking the game. Because you asked what would break the game.
I think 100,000 is way too much. I think in the realm of like maybe 10,000, if you give like an appropriate sink, maybe a bit more, but like if you don't give it, like, money's only as powerful as the DM is willing to drop money sinks, right? You know, if you give like a million gold, but then have like no good items. So really, I think it's up to the quality of items you want to drop that should determine the value of this gold, right? So really up to you. You can still control whether or not this gold means anything by choosing to give us better or worse items, right?
And it's not
So
just
even if you
gold,
break the
it's
game,
a
I
gem.
think you wouldn't have to worry about it as much right now, right?
Who the hell is playing Civ?
That would be Rocky.
Okay. I finally understand what those background noises are. God damn.
Yeah, like speaking, it's one of those where like, you know, like you can still control the quality of gold that like comes in
I'm
just
gonna
by.
say, in a single night's work, I'm gonna say that you were able to manufacture 5,000 gold, of gems and things, and do that with your single, with your use of fabricate and your technique. I think 5,000 gold a night of transmuting the old gemstones into the stuff that can be sold and not traced back to you. That's the value of gems that you're able to move. Which, if you could just continuously do that until you ran out of supply, that would happen rather quickly. But in our particular time frame, 5,000 is more than enough for the amount of effort put in.
Do we split it on the party? How are we going to split this?
Oh,
I just
you
give it
have
to
all
Moonzic
of
and
the
let it-
money right now. Yeah,
You need to sell it.
we need to sell that much. It's not just like we have the gold. Now we need to find a way to move that much jewelry.
Actually, now we can
Multi-step
find a way to
process.
hack. Right? Yeah, I get that.
But
Yeah,
you spend your night. So go ahead to your inventory, add 5,000 gold worth of gems and jewelry.
5,000.
That's a good round number.
Yep, and it's not divisible by 6.
Okay.
And how much more? And how much more do we have of gems after he's done that?
You're actually on the lower end of things, to be honest. I think you probably have, after that, probably 20, 25 max.
Yeah.
25 gems? Or
No,
25?
25,000 gold.
Okay.
That's a pretty good amount.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, DM.
Yeah. Money.
It's a gas.
Go ahead and quote me on that, Cameron. Put that in your paper, in your Excel spreadsheet for the costs of and budgets.
It's not even in a. It's not even in a spreadsheet. I just have it in the notebook that's under my player tab.
I know. That's why I'm just kidding. I'm playing.
I have been designing the fake text that is used in the book, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. As doodles in my notes.
I love that.
I've somehow decided like a lot of it is like terms and conditions written in Elvish, but then, like, the magical writing is all infernal for some reason. I don't know
Is
why.
all that infernal?
It's all in infernal, and like the text has to be done in red and black ink.
What? Kind of weird.
Very
It's
Okay.
deal text. It's deal text.
Okay. Brian. You arrive at, what's the name of the bar? What was the name of the? Is it a? Hold on.
I think
No.
it's the Withered Bird Inn.
I remember where it is on the map. If I had the map in front of me, I could do it.
Mhm.
Map of Nicodranas
Not
or what?
Denny's. Yeah, it's the Withered Bird Inn.
Okay.
Damn, you got. No, wait, no. It's Baron's Books, Brews,
Yeah,
and
Baron's
Buns.
book. Yeah, it's
There it
Baron's
is.
book.
Yeah.
Fucking shout out to Denny's.
We're
Not
not sponsored
sponsored.
or anything. We just like Denny's.
We wish we were sponsored.
Would be
Not
sponsored.
even that. I just love Denny's.
Call us.
Call.
Please.
So.
We're desperate.
You make your way to Baron's Books, Brews, and Buns, where the historians typically meet after that's sometime after
After dark.
after like 9, like 8:30, 9 o'clock. As you get in, you actually end up with frequent uses of your Misty Step as you kind of like run Misty Step, do your thing to get there on time. I don't know.
I pop by a crowded street just by Misty stepping over top of them.
That sounds
Right.
That sounds like Brine.
You have the winged boots, don't you?
I do, but sometimes I forget that I have them.
Either way, you make it to the Baron's Books, Brews, and Buns. Say that 10 times fast.
Baron's Books, Brews, and Buns.
That
Baron's
wasn't an
Books, Brews, and
invitation.
Buns. Baron's Books, Brews, and Buns.
Faster!
Baron's Books,
Faster!
Brews, and Buns. Baron's Books, Brews, and Buns.
He's
Thank
got
you.
bronze.
Thank you, Metallica.
Bruns.
The run?
How Pergandinant is formed.
Yeah, no kidding. So, and sitting all by his lonesome, kind of off into a corner by himself, near where the party, where the historians usually meet, but completely alone. You see, Barkley.
Hey, Buckley. Why all alone?
I assume it's because they aren't here yet. I didn't expect to see you here today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm not usually. Yeah.
It's fine. I'm not usually able to be here either.
Last time we. Okay. I know last time we talked, you were really stressed out about something. I know that you definitely know by now everything I went through in order to get rid of Ukotoa's influence, so maybe I can help now. Although, if you'll allow me, I would really like to nerd out about something.
I'm not gonna stop you from nerding out. Go.
Me and Professor Nomon, we've worked all afternoon on this, and I've been dealing with ideas for this for a little while now. But I might have figured out something really big. And she
Oh.
pulls out this massive tome. I know this looks like a lot. Here. I'll explain it as you read.
Okay.
Almost all of this is magical text outlining different conditions, different parts of how this book works. All that really matters is the 2 pages at the beginning. The 3 pages. The first page is a list of names. And right now you can see just no more is on there, right?
I can read, Brian. He smiles at you.
I want
Continue.
you to sign your name there.
And what will this do?
Do you trust me?
He signs his name.
All right. Now, I'm the only one who can do this next part because of how all of that, all of the appendices work, right? But, and she's gonna write out a message in front of him, and he's gonna hear it in his head.
Oh. That's wonderful.
Now think your response.
He thinks the response. It's showed up in your book. You you see written on the page. Does this work? Right. Just something
And it
simple.
comes out on the page.
Oh, look at that. He says, "Look at that," and out loud, and it appears on the page.
That's
Oh no! Do I have to use the whole 25? But no, until his thought is concluded, it will read. It was just a funny thing.
Yes, it is like
That would-
sending. The fun part is if you try and send to the book as if you were casting sending without casting the spell slot, I should be able to get it back. I'll be honest, more than half of the pages are just on that functionality alone, and we haven't tested them very extensively.
So, what do I do? I can't
Well-
cast anything.
Put no magical power into the casting of sending.
But I don't know how to send.
You have to... Brian takes a moment. Okay. The verbal components and these are the verbal components, and these are the somatic components. If you do that and you say my name, it should bypass the normal sending, as if you had to put in magic, and it should just work on the book.
Okay. He gives it a try. Saying the words, moving his hands, and it says, "Just because I'm ranked high doesn't mean I have an innate magical ability. Thank you very much."
And it appears on the book.
Look at that.
Oh my god, I was so scared that wouldn't work. Anyway.
That's amazing. I don't feel particularly drained or anything like that. Not that I really know that much about spellcasting.
I'm not going to go into all of the ways that, and how it works, but essentially, if you sign on the first page, I can get into contact with you, and you can get into contact with me. So you've signed. Now, if I'm out on adventure and I don't know, I can be of any sort of help, or I see something that you'd be really interested in, I could let you know. I could let the whole historians know. I could still contact Professor Namon.
That's amazing, Brian. Truly. And he's smiling. He's like, he's been pretty down and kind of sarcastic as he usually is, but like, he seems genuinely joyed by this. That's great. And this works from any distance?
Well, I mean, from here to the university at the very least, it's designed to work from any distance. We'll see what happens.
And I wonder if, like sending, it is interplanar.
Honestly, that one might be easier to test than others, but it should be better than sending at interplanar.
Explain why.
Well, sending has a chance of failure with interplanar. It does still have that issue with distance to a certain extent. This bypasses distance by creating a magical contract of sorts. Not dissimilar to a warlock contract, but much, much more limited in scope. It's, because of how warlock contracts are designed, they're usually interplanar by nature. So it should work from any distance and through any planes. Barring some kind of magical interference of communication.
That is incredible. That's amazing. This is wonderful, Brian.
Anyway, you are really stressed about something. Is there a way I can help?
The stress never ends. I'm afraid I'm not really sure how much I can even tell you. But while you're out there, Brian, doing your adventuring as you will, be very safe. Be cautious of where you
I'm
go.
always cautious. You know me.
I do know you.
That's why he's scared, isn't it?
And I'm really happy that you were able to create this. It may be more useful than you know.
I mean, I damn well hope it's useful. I have writer's cramp after all of that.
I know how that goes. Oh look! Oh look who it is! You hear as Alexander like comes up and gives the both of you big hugs. I haven't seen either of you in how long's it been? 70 years?
It's been 4 days. 4 days.
Yeah, still can't get over the last length of time you were gone.
Well, you know, yeah. Hey,
Hey,
sign
for
here.
horses. He starts signing. Need my autograph?
Yep.
For when I'm big and famous one day?
Definitely.
That's only for you. No selling it.
All right. Thank you. Does not tell him why it's for. You know how to cast sending, right? I'm
Yeah.
not saying has the magical powers, just the
Yeah.
theoretical.
I'm a bard. Yeah. What?
Just the theoretical. I don't need the magical power.
Yeah.
All right.
I get it. Okay. Anyway, So, you'll never guess, what happened last night?
What
You
happened?
could totally guess what's gonna happen. Just look at the book.
No, he's
Uh,
not sending to me, so I don't know.
he says, I got a missive that says that I could be on road with Elvish Cressley.
Elvish Presley.
Cressley. Yeah? On the road with. I mean, I would simply just be there as, like, you know, a hand. I'm not really doing anything that cool. But, like, this could be my opportunity.
Your big breakout, huh?
Yeah.
When's the, what was, his last hit? I thought I heard that in the tavern the other day.
Oh, yeah. Elvis Presley's last hit, Burnin' Love.
I was thinking you ain't nothing but a dire wolf.
Oh, God, that's so good. Yeah, his last popular. You ain't nothing but a dire wolf. Oh, so good. That's so good, Cam.
That's ridiculously good.
That's really funny.
Yeah, really, really popular now.
Where's he planning on touring next?
I'm pretty sure that we are going to go up towards from Port to. Oh, sorry, I'm really overwhelmed by how exciting this is. Think we're starting in Port Damali, making our way down all the way, performing at Phelan, Port Zoom before we end things off here in Nicodranas. I think that's where I'm gonna get picked up. And then we're gonna go to Trossenwald.
Nice. So, off to Trossenwald.
Well, whenever they get here, that is. Probably like 3-4 weeks or so.
So you might be leaving around the same time I'm going to leave again.
Yeah, where are you going?
We're not entirely sure, but we're going to have to... Well, the Legati company has some pressing matters, and apparently they still need me, plus, my deal... Can't say too much, but I have to go to Allfield.
Where's Allfield?
It's a little bit into the Empire. Not too far.
Cool. Maybe we'll be able to travel with each other part of the way. Though, you could probably get there in 3 weeks.
Hoping less.
Probably a lot.
We purchased griffins recently.
That's your griffin outside?
Yeah. Do you want to know his name?
Yes?
Thunderbeak von Oppenheimer, Destroyer of Worlds.
Oh my gosh! That is amazing! Yeah, I was thinking, I was like, who is parking at Barron's Books, Brews, and Buns with a griffin? You! That's sick! Pretty soon they'll be writing songs about you.
I really hope they don't. I mean, like, it would be cool and all, but usually they write songs about the heroes after they've died. If it's soon, then I'm dead.
True.
You have to be really famous for them to write the songs while you're still alive. Or you have to have a really good publicist. What do you think about becoming the publicist?
I think I might be in a better and better position each week that goes by to be a publicist if I decided to.
True.
I mean, I'm
Elvis
in
Presley.
guns now. Yeah, Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley. Hey, what was the other one? Stockade Boulder? I know, it's a lesser known one.
Yeah, I don't know that one.
Jailhouse Rock. Stockade Boulder.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, that one took me a little bit too. I didn't pick it up right away. Yeah! Stockade Boulder. Classic.
Anyway. Oh,
So,
by the way,
yeah?
I'm wondering. Nah, never mind. Stupid question.
At that moment, you see Hazel and Bella walk in, hand in hand.
Hey, you two.
Hi there! Haven't seen you in like 4 days.
See, she understands the passage of time.
Well, if she understood the passage of time, why does she always make us late for everything?
Ah, the mysteries of the universe. Anyway, what have you two been up to?
Bella says, "Oh, you know, the normal."
That is entirely useless to me.
I know. It's just like, we just caught up a couple days ago. I haven't done too much besides hang out with, Hazel. Hazel, kind of gives a little cough. We've been, celebrating quite a bit on our own. I mean, you guys have all been quite busy, but, Hazel, found herself, in a particularly good position. Isn't that right? Yeah, I did. I am now, the proud owner of a home.
No way. In this economic situation, and
Yeah. It's not like that nice of a home, to be honest. My apartment was bigger. But it's mine. It's wild, right?
I mean, import. Nicodranas? Where? What district? I can't even fathom how you managed to do that here.
Hey, Bella kind of like looks like away, like she's like not making eye contact, but Hazel kind of like coughs, and like kind of gives her a nudge. I may have won it from a gambling debt, like. But
you know what?
Poker's a ruthless game, and I will never gamble like that again.
You know, poker is a game of skill. So, you only had 100% chance to win. Because that's how skilled you are, right? That's how this works.
Exactly. Hazel, do not give these ideas any more credence. Do you know what she put on the line?
What did
No,
she put on the
no.
line? Seriously, what did she put on the line?
I may have promised some pretty big secrets on the Cobalt Soul internal workings.
You know better than that.
And it was magically bound.
Now, who is trying to get that out of you anyway?
I don't know, some guy in a hood. Well,
Some
actually,
guy in the hood.
well, I do know his name now. At the time, I didn't, but like, I have his house.
Elaborate. Somebody's trying to figure out the inner workings and thought it was valuable enough to bet the house on. You think he just stopped?
No, he didn't just stop. He's been properly reported to the authorities. But that was like 3 days ago. We've been celebrating the new house since then.
You know what? Congratulations.
Thanks.
Also,
Well,
sign here.
She signs there. What's this for?
You'll find out later. You too.
What am I signing?
Same thing the other side. Now go.
If all of your friends jumped off a cliff, would you follow them?
If Barkley jumped off a cliff first? Definitely.
You've got a good point. Hazel signs it.
Now, I've had something I've been wanting to try for a little bit, and thank you all for being my guinea pigs. And she's gonna try and send them a group sending message.
Oh, roll me an Arcana check. I'm gonna give you advantage. And it's a pretty fairly low DC. It's over a 10.
Okay.
You have
With
50, yeah, like,
advantage.
you shouldn't have any issues, but you can't crit fail. It could go wrong. Oh,
Oh,
that was very close. That was very close.
Bro.
What do you say in their heads?
Could have bet your house on it then.
if you can hear me, point at the person to your right.
Everybody points to the person to their right. Okay. You hear back in
It
your head.
works. When one person does okay with the response, I want to see what happens when multiple people respond.
At the same time.
Yes.
You know what? I think if this happens, I'm gonna have you do another Arcana check, and I want you to tell me what happens based off the roll, because I think either way, this is really cool.
Depends on
So
how
roll
well
it-
It depends on how well I. Sorry.
I'm asking you to roll it for yourself
Okay.
to describe what happens.
Basically, how well did I do the limit testing of this thing? I'll just do that normally. Arcana. Alright, fairly well. So all of the responses come out in an ordered list below them, but it doesn't have any names and it doesn't have any colors to identify who said what.
Okay. So, like,
It worked, but, like, I don't have any identifiers.
did you have any identifiers before?
No. This is something that Brian put like the response feature in. She put the sending feature in, and there's an identifier for when somebody sends to her, right? But the reply thing, she didn't think to put the identifiers on, so it just kind of spits out text. There's not a lot between the different things to identify who might have said what.
I
And
see.
yeah, so. All right, time to let the three of you in on the secret. I actually did have to tell Barkley what I was doing. This right here, this massive page, full of, you know what? I'm not going to get it really deep into the magical language of it all, especially because now I'm going to have to edit it to fix that thing. But I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to do that. Anyway, point is, this is a sending tome. I can write to each and any one of you on this page by simply writing your name, followed by a colon, followed by the thought I wish to send to you. What I did there is I wrote each of your names in sequence, then included the message to you. This was a functionality I tried to implement, but the reply functionality still has some bugs to work out. However,
It has bugs? Ew. Bella says.
like, you know what? It just sounded right when I said it. Magical hiccups. But the more I talk about magical hiccups with a magical device you all signed, the more you guys look very wary at me. So I promise you it's safe. The point is if you know the manner to cast sending, even if you don't have the magical power to, if you follow that up with targeting me as you would with the spell, without using any magical power, you should be able to send to me. Meaning we can send back and forth, and I can always be in contact with you guys.
As if on cue, as if on cue, understanding what's happening here, Alexander begins to cast sending to you. That's why you were asking me if I could cast sending. Picking up right away.
Yeah, see? He just sent to me on the book. You can see his response.
Yeah, that worked. Perfect.
Did it use up a spell slot?
No. Not at all.
We're still not
It
sure.
doesn't work. It doesn't work if I would try to send to Barkley.
I don't think so, no. I mean, you could try, but it shouldn't. It's not worth it that way. I could have worded it that way, but it would have been dangerous, both to you and to Barkley.
I see. Well, let me try, Bella says. What were the words again? Oh, right, yeah. And she casts sending. Hello, world.
Oh my god. The first thing.
It worked? It worked.
Yeah.
I can try, I guess. She casts sending. Hello. It's me. Just kidding. That's
So?
really cool.
Anyway, yeah. It's, look, there's a lot of stuff. I'm not even sure whether I'll be able to fix the thing where group sending, I can't tell whose response is from whom, but, Even if I can't, it's a really good way for me to be able to get in contact with you guys.
And hypothetically, Barclay says, if one of us needs to get in contact with the others, we can contact you to do it on our behalf.
Yeah, absolutely. So while you're off with Elvish Crashly, if you desperately need to hear from Bella and her wonderful advice.
Yeah, but that would mean that you would. He says yes, but that would mean that you would then read all of my information.
I mean, yeah, but I can't exactly make a ton of these books.
Hazel says, but if something were to happen, I think that's what
Exactly.
Barclay's trying to get at.
If something were to happen to who?
I don't know. Any one of us? It's
Well,
important information.
then we'd know and we'd be able to help.
Exactly. It's helpful. Nice job! She like goes up for a high five for you. Bella does.
Biggest high five I can give. So,
All right.
homeownership, Elvis Cressley, whatever the fuck Barclay's problem is that he still feels like he can't share.
Just can't. We know.
Not even with me.
I trust you, Brine. I really do.
Made it all the way to level 4. You can see her like kicking her boots against the
Well,
ground.
there might be. Wait, what? He says. Wait,
Wait, you didn't
spoke
know?
to Ayun?
Yeah. I've told this entire group that. They knew what I was going through. Have you had your head that thoroughly?
Remind you, he wasn't here last time.
I know, but like, I just figured he had talked to people. Or actually, rather, Brine did. I kind of got that he didn't know.
Ooh, that's cold.
But you haven't talked to anybody else? This entire time? It's been like the only thing I have been doing for like 3 weeks now.
No, I haven't. Yeah, he's been like stuck in that cave of his. Cave being tower.
Jeez, you must be stressed. So yeah, getting rid of my pact with Ukatoa required talking to Ayun.
Oh. I see.
Which meant I had to pass all those tests.
Right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's really amazing, Brine.
I won't pretend it wasn't on with some reservation that the council approved it, but
That's huge. That's a huge step, Brine. He keeps like saying it. He's like, he didn't expect anybody else to get to this point. That's like, you talked to Ayun.
Didn't you also do that?
I did. I just didn't expect you to. No offense.
Taken?
That's valid.
Although, given how close it was with the council, maybe I shouldn't. In any case, yeah, I did that.
That's amazing.
Thank you. But
Yeah. 3 cheers for Brine, I guess? For talking to gods?
Somehow I feel like that's less important than whatever the hell this book is.
Okay, yeah, I totally understand that. This book is amazing.
Like, I can't find anything in any of the codexes of magic items that is similar to this. The only thing that I could find is a warlock power. But that has to be given out by gods or similar, right? So, the fact that we're able to produce this with pure knowledge? I mean, thanks to Ayun, but still. Also, you've already given all the cheers I can take over the Ayun nonsense.
True enough. But like,
Seriously, Barkley, I would like to help in whatever way I can.
well, we'll talk about it later, okay?
Okay,
Because I actually think there might be something you can't do.
thank you.
And libations all around. There's a celebratory mood in the atmosphere. Gambles won, jobs gotten, friends, all back in one room again. For now.
And the ability to contact each other later.
Uh-huh. And that is going to be where we end off tonight's session. Picking back up next time with a private conversation between Barkley and Brine.
Woo!
And maybe some shopping.
And some shopping. Yeah, I
And
got a
some
little.
shopping.
And some shopping. Come on, we have 5,000 gold, and you're saying we're not going to shop? Come on.
Actually, I can think of 0 things that I want for 5,000 gold.
Bro, I could blow through 5,000 gold in a single night, just on spell scrolls
I
alone.
could think of something, but we'll see. In any case, thank you all so much for watching. For those of you on YouTube, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe with the buttons below. Also follow the link in the description to go to my Twitch page, and follow there to get notifications when I go live with more D&D, Outer Wilds. I do Metroid Prime randomizers. I've been getting into the race scene in that community lately, so I've been doing that every so often. Yeah, go follow over there, and make sure you spread the word. I'm always happy to have more people watching my content. Thank you all so much once again for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.